Temperature is rising up.
Hey, this is Chris with Grease and Gears TV, Cycle Source Magazine. We are right outside of St. Louis today, here with my brother Paul Whiteman from Bare Knuckle Choppers, and today we're going to visit Mittler Brothers Tool and Machine. Why don't you tell everybody for a second who these guys are?
Mittler Brothers is the premier maker of fabrication tools and equipment, and they've been at it for 34 years now, I think. And they were actually my neighbor for about 7 or 8 years when I first got started. Bought my first machines from them. My first investment in my business was their ultimate bender and their ultimate notcher. And we're going to go inside and meet Mike Mittler, founder and president of the company, I believe. And he's going to give us a quick tour and some good information on how important it is to buy American and buy quality.
Right on. Hey, so this is going to be an exciting afternoon. Stick around. We're going to go check all this cool stuff out.
Well, my brother and I had worked in another small shop. And my brother Paul was just out of high school, and I wasn't that far removed from high school. And the shop owner came in one day and said, well, I'm giving you my notice. I'm going to come back in and run the shop. So we actually met at my mom and dad's house on Super Bowl Sunday of 1980. Mom and dad agreed to support us and help get us going in business. And so the Monday after the Super Bowl, we went and rented a little rundown old diesel barn building for $400 and a handshake. And we started in business that day. The two of us started in that old building, and then we just slowly but surely have progressed up over all the years. And the facility we're in here today is 50,000 square feet. That first building was 2,500 square feet. So you can see we've grown quite a bit. We've grown from 2 people now to 60 people over all the years, so we're very fortunate to that. We have the product side of our business, that what you all have been featuring in the magazine and doing with us and working with Paul on. And then there's the design build side of our business, where we build special equipment and automation for industry. And those projects are all over. Some are automatic robots to do assembly or do material handling. Some are real detailed assembly machines. Some are real large machines to press railroad car wheels and axles on. There are some formal programs, one of which a lot of people call reshoring, which is really aimed at a lot of the big manufacturers, where a lot of those guys fled the country. They just said, man, we're going to go to the cheapest place we can go. And now they learn that really, just because that labor might be a little bit cheaper, their true delivered onshore cost may not be cheaper. The other thing that everybody, of course, today is quality. And they find that, yeah, the labor's cheaper. Well, it's cheaper for a reason. It's cheaper because they don't have the skill, they don't have the many generations of manufacturing background that a lot of people in the United States have. If you look at what made this country great, manufacturing is a lot of what made this country great. So, yeah, I think manufacturing is really right now and today is a bright spot in the economy. And obviously, just like you, we believe Made in America is an important thing. We believe that having these ladies and gentlemen employed by us, having decent jobs, having a future, we believe that that's just super important. There's the instance of a company that made ceiling fans, and they outsourced some little rubber washers in there. They got the samples, they tested them, everything was fine. But then when they went to full production, they cheated on the material, the washers failed, they had huge failures, and the company ended up going out of business because they tried to save a penny on something. Quality has to start with the material that you begin with. So that's where we start, and we try and always get domestic material. In some cases you can't, but we always try and get that. Then the quality goes to the skill level of the people and the tools and the equipment that you have. So the tools today are pretty available worldwide, but that skill level of that workforce is not a universal worldwide thing. And so again, we've got guys that are second generation, third generation in your area where you're from. Lots of manufacturing, been there for many, many years. That skill level is something that you cannot just give somebody a training course in a week or two, and then they're a high-skilled CNC machinist, tool maker, welder, fabricator, painter, assembler. You got to have a good idea for a good product, and then be able to perfect that product. So engineering is really where it starts, also with the quality. We've got a lot of motorhead, gearhead guys working for us here, involved in some version of racing, hot rodding, motorcycles. We need the weather to warm up a little more. You'd have seen more bikes in the parking lot when you pulled up today. So I think there's a lot of things the government could do to help us. I think OSHA should come in, and instead of coming into a small shop like this and being on the lookout of how they can fine you and try and make money off you, I think they should come in and say, hey, Mike, you got a pretty good shop here. How can we help you have an even better shop? We've got all this knowledge. We've got all these things that we paid for as taxpayers.
Yeah.
We are not allowed access to these other countries. We're, if you look at the big corporations that are in China, the only way they can operate in China is to be there and to operate there. I can't necessarily import my bead roller or my tubing notcher from America to China. Now, we do have a good bit of international business, and we're thankful for that. And I can say our products are well represented or well respected all around the world. When people come and meet us at the trade shows, they look at our product. I ask them, what do you think of American products? Oh, it's the best. It's the best. It's the best product there is. Well, again, that's a good feeling. So I think, I'm not suggesting that we have tariffs, but I think we need free trade and I think we need fair trade. And I think part of fair is to have some sort of an open market going both ways. So if we just allow everything to come into this country with no tariff, no tax, no duty, no nothing, but if we go to export to them and then they tax us or they put a heavy tariff on it, then that's not fair trade. So in the short term, could you take advantage of somebody? Yes, but in the long term, it's got to be a win-win deal. We can still be the shining star in the world. There's no doubt about it, but we don't have to have all this oppressive regulation. And I think what it is, I think as rules are proposed, I think there should be some evaluation of what the economic impact is, and then what is the science behind that. We're all mechanically oriented guys, and we do things because they make sense. There should be science behind those that make common sense, and common sense does not exist in the government. We all know that.
You think Americans are lazy?
Overall, no, I don't think Americans are lazy. I look at, I've got a bright young man that's still in high school that works for me, a computer genius, whiz kid, Eagle Scout with multiple palms on top of his eagle, 17 or 18-year-old young man. He goes to high school full-time, 4.0 or better average. He works here part-time and he works at Best Buy part-time. That's not a lazy American. Well, I think we mentioned history for a second. I think if you look back to the history of Walmart, you go back to the early days of Sam Walton, he wanted to buy American products. He really did. And so I think it's a little of both. I think they feel the heat a little bit, but I think it is from the heart. I think when they look back at their imperial leader, if you will, Sam Walton, Sam wanted to buy, he wanted to buy that flannel shirt in America. He wanted to buy those towels from down in the Carolinas. He wanted to buy things made in America. Where will Mittler Brothers be? I hope in 10 years. We like to say that we're proud of our past, focused on our future. So we're focused on our future. We're looking at who are our current leaders, who are our future leaders in our company. So where will we be in manufacturing? There's some Star Wars stuff out there now. Additive manufacturing is just starting to come to life. Literal black boxes hooked to a computer that'll make parts. And so I think you're going to see some amazing things. I think you're going to see some really, truly amazing things happen in manufacturing in the next 10 years. But, will shops like this still be around? I believe they will be. I believe we're still going to cut, shape, and form metal, because when you look at what it takes to build infrastructure, to build buildings, to build automobiles, to build appliances, to build housing, the basic things that we need to grow the food. The food is grown with high-tech equipment today, tractors, combines, and things like that. Well, those are built in high-tech factories. Those are not built out of magic black boxes. So I think you're still going to see strong manufacturing, and as the world population continues to grow and get bigger, we're going to have more of those things. We got to feed more people. We got to have clean water and sewage for more people. So those things have got to be built and got to be done. So I think there's still a phenomenal future. We're fortunate to have very creative customers like that, and I'm always humbled to be around the people that can take what we make and then do just phenomenal works of art, whether it be the raw art, whether it be to build a custom bike, whether it be to build a custom hot rod, whatever it may be. I'm in awe of those guys. Well, I'm good at what I do to help develop machines and make tools and things like that. but I'm really inspired by what they do. And then every year people come to us and say, well, what's new? What's new? That's the most common question. So we always feel that need to have new and to try and be creative on our own. Well, the very first product when we started in 1980 was our hydraulic tubing notcher. That was the very first product. We still sell that product today, 34 years later. We went to the local restaurant, and the old story about the paper napkin, well, this was done on a placemat at the Ground Round restaurant. I flipped that placemat over, and I drew that machine out on that placemat. And then a few years after that, the bead rolling machine came into existence. It started in about 1984 was the first bead roller. And that machine still continues to sell today. In new versions of it, I think you'd say that was really our biggest hit. And then our ultimate tubing notcher followed a couple of years later, and then those two machines have become kind of like the flagship of our line. Well, we always have some things in the pipeline, like we were talking about. We're going to see a new roll that that you guys will really like. My creative guys with the art on them, they'll like we're making a new roll that we call a barbed wire roll. Really, the first time to even be talked about in public right here today. And you'll see that today while you're here. So that's something new that we've got coming out. And I think the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to open up our house here and do some training and things like that, and bring guys like Jamie Jordan in, bring some other really skilled metal workers in, and have some training classes for people. And then we've got a few other things that we're working on that we're just finishing busy season right now. And then we're just getting into development season. Through the summer is kind of development season. So this is our engineering area here, and this is really where a lot of the ideas come to life. You know, we start with material. You know, we got to have iron, we got to have aluminum, we got to have stainless, we got to have whatever it is. So it starts here. We get raw steel in, it goes through the saws, and then it goes in the shop. We build all the parts and pieces throughout the plant that you're going to see. And then they get painted, are plated, are bolted, and then they come to these assembly areas here where the guys are putting the machines together. Our 5-axis Mazak turn mill center where we're making a lot of billet custom crankshafts and products that are getting ready to go out the door. So at the end of the day, that's what I always want to know. Well, how many packages did we ship today? We've been involved in the NASCAR Truck Series since the very beginning, since 1995. We're household names. Jamie McMurray went on a holy tear and won 3 of the big NASCAR events a few years ago. Carl Edwards, our most famous alumni, of course, he doesn't need much introduction there. Henry Ford had it right many, many years ago. You know, employ your people, pay them a decent wage, and they can buy your product. Your customers are creative people, so they come to you and say, hey, what did you think about this? Or, hey, you got this over here. The Ultimate Notcher came from the first hit, the hydraulic notcher, and we showed that at the show, and people said, yeah, that's really cool, you know, that's neat, but we need more, we need something better. And that was 34 years ago, almost to the day right here.